The 6 modes of documentary filmmaking were first proposed by documentary theorist and scholar Bill Nichols. These modes are poetic, expository, observational, performative, participatory, and reflexive. It's also worth noting that these modes are not mutually exclusive and may overlap or coexist within a single documentary film. Documentary filmmakers may choose to use one or more of these modes depending on the subject matter and their artistic vision. Poetic Mode. This mode focuses on creating an emotional or sensory experience for the viewer, often through abstract imagery. A poetic documentary emphasizes mood, tone, and visual associations over a traditional narrative structure. It uses images, sound, and editing to create an emotional or sensory experience for the viewer. The poetic mode often features experimental techniques and abstract imagery. Here's an excellent example of a poetic mode documentary film. It's a 2-minute clip from the film Rain from 1929. The expository mode. An expository documentary relies on a narrator or voiceover to provide information and an explanation to the viewer. It often presents facts, statistics, and historical context to provide a clear understanding of a particular topic or an issue. The expository mode is commonly used in educational or instructional documentaries. Here's another example. This is an expository mode. Let's watch a clip from City of Gold from 1957.
This was my hometown, and my father's town before me. It's a quiet place, a few stores, a restaurant, 300, maybe 400 people, hard workers, most of them. On the main street, the old men sit on the porch of the hotel in the sunshine, and they talk about the old days, the good old days. park is always full of kids. After a rain, there are always plenty of puddles to sail boats in. But I must tell you that this town where I spent my childhood isn't really like any other town in the world. This is Dawson City, the center of the Klondike Gold Rush. History will never see its like again. Every summer, when the seeds of fireweed drifted across the valley of the Yukon River, we kids used to roam through these decaying buildings. Some of them had been locked and barred for almost half a century. You could buy anything in Dawson City in its heyday, I remember my father telling me. Anything from oysters to opera glasses. You could buy a dance hall queen for her weight in gold, and one man did. His name was Chris Johansson, and he lived on Whiskey Hill. For a child, Dawson was a bit like a giant play yard full of enormous dolls' houses, each one crammed.
Observational mode. This mode aims to capture reality as objectively as possible without interference or manipulation. Observational mode emphasizes the filmmaker's role as an observer, recording events and situations as they unfold. It aims to capture reality as objectively as possible without interfering or manipulating the subject matter. This mode often relies on long takes, unbroken shots, and minimal editing. An observational mode example would be Don't Look Back from 1967.
Have you seen it on television? Dave Berry. He does all these slow actions, man. He's like the human sloth. You know? He does little things that you do make me glad. I'm in love with you, little thing.
It's great, and he has a microphone and he drops it down his back and
make me glad
just go.
that I feel this way when you walk.
Yeah, and he
I wanna hold your hand. Say, make me glad that I feel this way, little thing. They've got one. They've got a substitute. There's a good friend of mine going to go in later on for good, you know.
Yeah. Aren't you playing with them no more?
No. Finish now. It's only his hands, you know. King size.
Performative mode. This mode emphasizes the filmmaker's subjective experience and personal perspective. It often features the filmmaker as a character in the documentary, using their own emotions and reactions to the subject matter to shape the narrative. The performative mode is commonly used in autobiographical documentaries or in documentaries that explore identity and personal history. Here's a performative mode documentary. It's a clip from Super Size Me.
It's been a new thing. Is I've started to have like some not chest pains, but like pressure. You know, I feel like I got pressure on my chest. So I figure that's probably not a good thing. But neither's eating all this. So. I tell you, I haven't smelled bad yet.
Yeah, you have.
I know I haven't.
You just don't smell how bad you smell.
No. Look at that fish fillet. Look at this thing.
Oh, God, that looks nasty, man.
Isn't that horrible?
Obviously, that was been sitting around all day.
That, the fillet of fish.
Oh.
Shit.
How can I help you?
I get the double quarter pounder with cheese value meal.
Okay, thank you. 486.
I don't feel good today. Not that I feel sick, but I just feel really depressed. You know, for no reason. I mean, things are going great. We've had a good day. I just feel really, yeah. It's not real hard eating this food all the time. Just because, you know, it tastes good. It makes you feel good. I've really noticed I'll eat some, and just a little while later, I'll be hungry again. And I'll want more. More. So I'm pretty bored with their menu. It only took me 9 days. But it's pretty good otherwise. 9 days.
Participatory mode. This mode emphasizes the filmmaker's active participation in the documentary, often as an on-camera presence or as a voiceover narrator. It often features interviews and interactions with the subject matter, blurring the lines between filmmaker and subject. The participatory mode is commonly used in personal documentaries or in advocacy films. So let's take a look at this participatory film. It's called The Yes Men Fix the World from 2009.
Bhopal was never cleaned up. But the media also reported that many of the victims in Bhopal cried tears of joy upon hearing the news, and were then bitterly disappointed. Had we actually upset the people we'd meant to help? There was only one way to find out.
Here we are, we're in India. Hey! And this is Bhopal. Bhopal is a big city. There's over 1 million people here. Unfortunately, we heard from a lot of news reports that the victims here in Bhopal were extremely upset because we had raised false hopes about them actually getting some compensation after 21 years. What do you think they'll do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's the local custom here? I mean...
We're here at the Sambhavna Clinic, and this place was set up by a bunch of people to help treat the gas victims of the worst industrial accident in history.
So patients come in from here. This is a forum, basically, where we determine their history of gas exposure, how far they were living, or were they sleeping in a tent that night, and then their severity grade is determined. These are some of the disabled children, and every system of the body has been affected. You know, the musculoskeleton, the nervous system. 40% of the women coming here under 40 have menopause. Yeah.
Hello.
This is so cute.
Hey! Oh my God. Hey.
And finally, the reflexive mode. This mode emphasizes the filmmaker's awareness of their own role in creating the documentary. It often includes self-reflexive techniques, even addressing the audience directly to reveal the process of filmmaking and the subjective nature of representation. The reflexive mode is commonly used in documentaries that explore the relationship between reality and representation. This example of a reflexive mode documentary is a clip taken from Man with a Movie Camera from 1929. And those are your 6 modes of documentary film.